on your dial right now. They see stories every play, every time we're Rob Brown breaking it all down. Yeah. SEC Sideline Sports on my mind. Rob Brown calling game time, highlight shine, executive mind. Brendan Martin keeping Rob in line. Like, subscribe, share it, tell everyone. Sideline Sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune.
I love this song.
Love this song.
Hey, Brendan, you are a genius. I'm serious. How you figure out how to do all the stuff is amazing. I know dealing with all of us is it's like you're a coach.
Hey, listen, the song part's easy in comparison to dealing with all you jokers.
I know. Hey, look, guys, do us a favor. We are live, and this is amazing.
We are live.
There's not enough words to put in what it means. Brendan has.
I don't think people understand that we are actually live.
Streaming.
If you're watching this later, we do this live.
Yeah, not edited, no script or anything like that. No scripted plays. This isn't Gus Ball.
No, that's me on the mandolin. I'm soloing on the mandolin right now.
One hand, like Tom Petty could do.
One-handed.
8 channels on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And do us a favor, folks. Rob Brown in Memphis, Brendan Martin in Ocala, Florida. Take a picture with your QR code and like, share, and subscribe. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, your family, but hit it when we go live. We want you to be sharing it. We got a lot to talk about today. We got Coach Matt Dean from Memphis over at Rhodes College. John Hartwell has made the move down to Fairhope, Alabama. Day 3 for Big John. Coach Matt Dean, again, we've been thinking about you, about your mom and all, and you are part. We got a Sidelines family. That's what this is. We kick ass. Nobody's going to outwork us. I can promise you that. I know you, Brendan. Brendan has 28 hours in a day, but we're putting out content. And one of the things that he's really good about, he's great about, is he'll send me a text at night and say, "Hey," and I'm just going to be completely transparent. Be careful on this NIL. So for Lent, Ash Wednesday is this coming Wednesday. I'm going to try to give up Lent talking about the NIL and the portal on this show. Except when absolutely necessary. Okay. But let's talk some basketball, gentlemen. Golly, last night, the SEC basketball looks like it's getting better. I got a better picture. Florida is emerging. Franz Beard talked about it on Tuesday's show. They're the best team in the SEC, and the best hope that this league has for a Final Four or to win it all. And they did it before in 06 and 07. Start with you, Coach Matt Dean. Your observations. Bucky Ball seems to be, they just don't have the height, but still, 7-8 games to go.
Good to be back with you guys. One of the things I know John can relate to as a former Division I college basketball player is February is what we call the dog days. You've been doing so much. You're now in the second semester in terms of your competition from an academic standpoint. And honestly, if you look at Florida, I believe they've won 9 out of 10, 4 in a row. I could be wrong. I think the only loss they've had in a while was that loss to Auburn, if I'm not mistaken. You can see the confidence growing, defending national champions. Right now, clearly, I think they're at the best team in the SEC. If you look at the seed line right now, I'm guessing they're probably a 4, but that doesn't matter. If you're playing well, they can improve that in the last few weeks before the bids come out. SEC tournament, if they win that, they get a boost. But right now, all my stock, Rob, you're my investor, is on the Gators to not only repeat as SEC champions. So I think regular season, I think that's going to definitely happen. In the tournament, anything can happen. But I look like, to me, Florida is the one team in the SEC that can make a run to get back to the Final Four. That's my, initial observation.
Yeah, mine too. John Hartwell, again, at 6'7", still a dominant presence on the court and in the household.
I'm glad my wife's out of earshot to be able to dispute
Oh, that's
that
right.
Hey, yeah, a couple of observations. I think you guys are right as it relates to Florida. And here's Coach Dean, as always, makes a very valid point about you get to the dog days of February. People are tired, especially look at these teams that have a lot of freshmen, because freshmen aren't used to playing this many games in high school. They hit a wall a lot of times. But Florida's got depth. The teams that have depth right now have a tendency to really get it going. And what's going to be interesting to see is who can jumpstart it again and get hot come March time, March Madness. And the other thing is, you mentioned buckyball, and they've lost a couple of close games. It's not like they've been blown out.
Yeah.
But I'd equate it to a baseball game when you are facing, and I do not say this in a derogatory manner at all, a junk pitcher. A lot of times it takes the first time through the batting order, sometimes even the second time through the batting order, to get yourself a little more comfortable in the batter's box. Facing buckyball is the same way. When teams are making adjustments, I think it's going to be a little harder for them when they don't have the size, they don't have the talent, they don't have the depth. Not, again, no knock on what he's done, because he's made a tremendous turnaround. And I would still say he's going to be the odds-on favorite to be the SEC Coach of the Year. But I think you're going to see them coming back to the pack a little bit more in this final month of the regular season.
Well, you're looking, John and Matt, at what we're seeing. Buckyball, they can shoot the three, but when you're not hot, you're not going to beat anybody. I mean, it's like Auburn the other night against Vanderbilt with a combined like 10 for 33 from three-point range with Todd Pettiford and, Keyshawn Hall. You're not going to beat anybody. The height that Florida has and the number of guys that are big that can run up and down the court, Matt, that are coordinated, that's what sets them apart. And it's basically just Back to the Future, same thing as last year. When they went on the road February 7th or 8th to Auburn, Auburn was 1 or 2 in the country, and just pummeled them at the Neville. That was a statement, and they never looked back. You can never look back. What's the song by Don Henley?
Very, very good song. I will tell you this, size matters. And, Florida has rim protectors. Florida can also push the basketball. Florida can play at different multiple tempos. Getting back to John's point, it's a really good point about buckyball. In a conference, when you play so many games, we got so much film out there. The second time around, a lot of times those things take head, right, John? Where I've seen this team on tape a lot of times. We learn how to play them. The one thing that's interesting, though, about A&M, in my opinion, I think that style in the NCAA tournament could actually really enhance their chances to get to the second weekend. I would not be shocked if, A&M could get to the second weekend just because they're going to have some opponent in the tournament that may not be familiar at all. I mean, they're going to watch it on tape. We all do. But it's different to play a team a second time, see it live, and go through a conference schedule. But I just think Florida has so many pieces. I think they're well coached. I think defensively, when you have the size, you can definitely, in a close game, protecting the rim is everything. As someone who's really a defensive coach in my belief system, Florida has everything in their weaponry to get back to the Final Four. I think it's 9 out of 10 at this time of year, and you have depth. Depth's huge. I mean, right now our team's struggling. We have 2 starters out. We're different. You take 2 starters out of the lineup, like John said. Sometimes you have to play a first-year player in a situation where they're playing their 3rd or 4th game above what they ever did at the high school level. And guys, that's really difficult from a mental standpoint, especially when you're doing it the first time.
Well, John, Tommy Hawk, it was a 2-star, Fran said, not a 3, but a 2 out of Pennsylvania when he came to Florida. He is looking like he's the leader in the clubhouse for SEC Player of the Year. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to argue that, although there's some other players having really good seasons, but his consistency and what you're getting, or what Florida is getting from him night in, night out, is really impressive, and obviously has helped them on this winning streak that they're on. What I'd like to do is, if you look at the SEC standings, you've got 3 teams that are 2-9, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Whether you're LSU, I know there's a lot of noise around Baton Rouge about a potential change being made there. Oklahoma, with Porter Moser, who obviously is a tremendous coach, had a great run, prior to coming to Oklahoma. But I think you're going to, now that we've gotten into the second week of February, I think you're going to start to see more and more noise about some of these coaching changes.
Well, I want to ask you, John Brady, I didn't hear back from him. I don't know. Maybe he's taken over. That's a shocker. I mean, Matt McMahon had a lot of success at Murray State. And you look at a program like LSU with their resources. That one, I think, 7 trips to the NCAA tournament in the last 26 years. You would think there was a lot more than that, Matt Dean. And then you look at a program like Iowa or Iowa State. They just keep pounding it out. And by the way, big story in The Athletic about the state of Iowa passing a bill in the state legislature, in the state house, to try to attract an NFL team. They're trying to pull the Chicago Bears to Iowa. And they talked about the Quad Cities. John Hartwell, can you name the Quad Cities for a sack full of crystals? A steamer pack at that.
See, and Matt and I have talked about this before. The one I'm the most familiar with is Davenport.
Yeah, where Matt is from.
Oh yes, and the Conroy crew is from there too. Quite a name in the coaching, hoops coaching profession as well. And let's. I would be interested to hear, Matt. Are you all on for the NFL team coming to Iowa, coming to the Quad Cities?
So you guys may know I'm a huge Chicago Bear fan. My idol was Walter Payton growing up. I saw that graphic yesterday, Rob, about the Davenport Bears, and I started laughing because from an infrastructure standpoint, we couldn't support it. But the Bears are having issues with their new stadium. The Arlington Heights area is probably the area that will end up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. They've also proposed, I think Indiana, which borders up there, has proposed a site for the stadium. But, historic Soldier Field where they play is one of the great venues. If you've ever been there, it's down on the lakefront. And quite frankly, I selfishly, I would love for them to keep it down there and build that area up in terms of, but the big debate they're having too is if they want to make it, if you could dome it, then you could potentially host a Super Bowl, I'm told, because you have to have, it's weather related too, right? In Chicago in February is not always very nice. So you have to have a dome. So a lot of these teams that are building new stadiums, like you look like the Vikings back in the old days, they played in Bloomington and it was just unbelievably cold outdoor stadium. But the Lions, they play in, I think, Ford Field. But growing up in Iowa, what was interesting was our pro teams were either the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings, or the Chiefs. Kind of like the 4 corners of the state. And I was on the eastern state side, and I was a Chicago fan. My best friend.
You weren't a Bronco fan? You talking smack now? Because
listen there, Mr. Martin. Listen there, Mr. Martin.
You guys had cute teams and all, but
listen, I was hoping
Johnny
your coach would kick a field goal at 10-0, and even without my guy Bo Nix, I was hoping you guys were going to be in the Super Bowl. You surely would have played a better game than the Patriots did. That was a tough one.
It was really a hard one. It would have been a much better game.
Yeah.
Brendan, go ahead. But my son is on the Oregon staff and just absolutely adored Bo Nix. And when he was talking with Chicago Bear Scouts before they drafted Caleb Williams, Tyler was trying to convince them to trade down and get picks and say, you want Bo because he's an incredible leader. He's going to be an incredible quarterback. And what a freak injury on just kind of like they were just setting up for a field goal, right? He was rolling out to the left and kind of planted wrong. If he's healthy, they clearly win that game against the Patriots and probably would have been a much better matchup. Though I will give Seattle credit. Seattle's front 4 got to the quarterback most of the time with 4 rushers, and they would blitz a little bit too. But It wasn't even a game, guys, even though the score wasn't a blowout really, but it was not really a game.
Well, Bartu talked about it. He said, I saw a scenario. He kept telling me this before the game where I don't see how New England scores. They got some points late, but that game was over. I mean, that was like trying to buy fire insurance when the house was smoldering in flames. John Hartwell, hopefully he'll be right back. But Franz Beard, I love this guy. The guy's amazing. He has his first to worst in the SEC rankings. Okay. Not surprising. And he ain't saying this because he's a Florida guy, but he's right. Florida's the best team.
They are.
Second best. He's got Arkansas, Matt. You like that pick?
I do. I like Coach Calipari's roster. I think they're another team that could get to the second weekend and coaching matters. I think my 1 and 2 would be Florida and Arkansas right now, to be honest with you, even though I still think I'm pulling for Buckyball. But I think those are the two that I would go with right now. And you know what? Give Mark Pope credit. Kentucky's played much better. I believe they're 8-3 in the conference.
Yeah.
They have a talented roster. Obviously, they have an expensive roster.
Well, they won 8 of their last 9 games.
I know it. So, I mean, they're playing well at the right time. And that's what really matters, guys, in basketball. It's a different sport than football, as you know, because in football, man, you lose a couple games, you're out unless you get a break. And in basketball, it's about playing well at the right time. And sometimes you just got to get healthy. And I think Kentucky right now is kind of clicking.
Yeah. All right. 3, 4, and 5. Kentucky at 17-7, 8-3 in the SEC, and alleged $22 million roster.
Yeah, everything's alleged.
Yeah, and number 4, Alabama, 17-7 with a 7-4 conference record. Impressive win on the road against Ole Miss last night. And what gets me is Charles Bediako's not out there, and they rebounded. It didn't destroy the team chemistry or anything like that. Number 5, Vanderbilt, Mark Byington. That guy's a hell of a coach. You know what coaches look like. John Hartwell is back with us from Fairhope, folks. Visit Fairhope, beautiful Baldwin County, Alabama. Take the Foley Beach Express. Get out there. Well, actually, if you're going to Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, John, when I come down there to see you, we're going out to Doc's Seafood on Canal by the Publix there at Orange Beach. Wherever the locals eat, that's the best seafood. But Franz Beard just gave us his first to worst in the SEC top 16. And John, I'm gonna catch back up with Matt. He's got Florida number 1, Arkansas 2, and then Kentucky 3, Alabama 4, and Vanderbilt 5. So your thoughts on those top 2, and then Matt, you give me your thoughts on Alabama and Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, as Matt was saying earlier, I do think Florida is the one that's really got the legit shot to win a national championship. I just don't see the depth in any of these other SEC teams. Not that they're bad teams at all. I mean, there's, I would say probably 10 bids there, 9 or 10 bids. It's going to be interesting because you have a team. I mean, take Ole Miss. Ole Miss has played some really good games, but they've lost. They've had some losses that, when it becomes decision time with the men's basketball committee, do they have enough good wins to get in? And I think there's going to be 2 or 3 SEC teams there on the bubble that do they have enough quality wins to overcome a couple of quad 3 or quad 4 bad losses.
Yeah, and you look at it. Joe Lenardi was on, I think it was just a replay from last night on SEC Network with Peter Burns, Matt, talking about the SEC maybe with 11. We all remember last year it was an historic season, and with 14. By the way, English teachers, if you're watching, we love your comments, everybody. Share us, like, subscribe, but get in the chat room and comment. Somebody answer this question for me. Dad was a grammarian, and so is my mom. The phrase physicality, that's not a word, okay? I mean, I took word wealth in 10th grade from Brother Stephen Schonhoff. Trust me, it's not a word, yet journalism today, Johnny journalism died decades ago, okay? It's kind of throw split against the wall and hope it sticks. But Matt Dean, talk about Alabama at 4 and Vanderbilt 5, and then we're going to get going on this top 16. But this is a great list from Franz Beard, folks. And by the way, purchase his book. He, Buddy Martin, Carlton Reese. It's a collaboration, The Golden Season, about Florida's national championship last year. Franz is doing another book right now. It's kind of have like Lauren Smith did in 21 and 22. He was holed up at a writer's penal colony at Sea Island, Georgia. Rough place to be, Lauren, writing books. But anyway, Matt, talk about 4 Bama, 5 Vandy.
Yeah, honestly, I think both of those teams are potential second weekend teams. Now, do I think they can make a run to the Final Four? I'm not sure. The thing about Lenardi saying, he mentioned 11, I guess, to you, Rob. That means that we're talking Georgia, Texas, and probably even Auburn if we go all the way to 11, right? That would be the next 3 if I'm looking right. And Auburn now is 14 and 10. I believe UGA has lost a few games, but they're still at 17 and 7. I think the thing that happens in every league in America, guys, and even last year when the SEC was clearly, I think the best, they won a national best league in America, is you're going to beat each other up, right? This is the time when you're going to beat each other up. So the net and all these things with the MPI, the quality non-conference wins, the quality road wins matter to get in. If the SEC gets 10 or 11, I think you're going to see 3 or 4 of those teams probably out in the first round. That's just my opinion. I think you can go all the way to Alabama and Vandy as possible second win teams. The team I haven't seen enough of, I told you I think A&M style could be problematic for people in the NCAA tournament. But I haven't seen enough of Missouri to give an opinion on where they go. I know they're a really good ball club, have some really good wins. But I just think they're beating each other up now. But I also, when you get to tournament play, I'm talking about NCAA tournament play, that's beneficial because everybody in this league is battle tested because we have a lot of depth. We just might not have the elite teams that we did last year.
Yeah. And, you can't say this. You cannot say that SEC basketball is dead. How about this little sticker? John West gave it to me. I like it. But, let's go look at 6, 7, and 8 from this list of Franz Beard, first to worst in the SEC. At number 6, Tennessee at 17 and 7, 7 and 4. Rick Barnes in his 17th year at Tennessee or whatever. He's been there a long time. Hell of a coach. Number 7, Texas, 15 and 9, 6 and 5 in the SEC. And number 8, Auburn at 14 and 10. You mentioned 5 and 6 in the SEC. I'll start with you, John Hartwell. Tennessee, Texas, Auburn. You like that?
Here's what I'll say when you look at that grouping of teams. When you look at a Rick Barnes, and I know this is strong company, I put Rick Barnes in not all the way to the level, but close to a Tom Izzo. If you're a gambler, you're a fool if you bet against a Rick Barnes team because he is going to have them prepared. And not that Stephen Pearl is not going to be a good coach. But Stephen Pearl has got 20 games under his belt as a head coach. Yeah. Rick Barnes, so many
900.
Yeah, exactly. So I go on coaching experience and coaching savvy alone there. I think that's really important. Hey, I want to go back to one thing real quick, Rob. Physicality, man, come on now. I'm gonna go old school on you.
Yeah, it's not a word.
It is a word.
When you have well, tell me this. Let's flash back for a minute. When you go back to the bad boy Detroit Pistons days, and you had Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer and Rodman and those dudes. Come on now. Was that not physicality?
That was.
It was physical, but it's physicality. Brendan is correct. It's a word, but it's become popularized by the pop culture. And it's not really technically, Matt, while you're on campus today at Rhodes College, the most beautiful inner city campus, my dad always called it in America, right by the Memphis Zoo, the number 2 ranked zoo in America. Can't believe it's not number 1. That's coming soon. But as soon as we capture a Bigfoot and we put him in there, I guarantee we'll be number one.
I'm
But
just
Matt,
letting everybody know that we're not being grammatically correct here. We know physicality is the word.
it's not a word.
Rob speak is he omits part of the sentence, and so then you don't know what part of the conscious stream you're joining in that part of the sentence because it could jump into something else, and so you have to kind of catch up. So everyone, Rob knows physicality is a recognized English word. It is a noun, and it generally refers to the state or quality of being physical, such as Bill Lambier did.
He did.
Hey, Brendan,
you want to break this down about who were the bad boys, the Detroit Pistons? You want to talk about physicality?
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, physical, no, it's a physical
Dennis
style.
Rodman was physicality, bro. Like that dude is like all physicality. His whole body is tattooed. I don't think he has a soul. He's just a body. He's physicality. He is physicality.
Well, and you get physical style of play. Those Piston teams, God, they were so much fun to watch in the summer 1988. Bill Lambier, who played his college basketball at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, hell of a. All right, let's look here.
Hey, hold on, Hartwell. Are you doing your laundry right now? Because I hear a dryer in the background. This is a professional show, dude. Like, do I have to break down the children this morning? I'm the young guy.
Hey, the timing is
everybody.
perfect. I'm still getting used to the new surroundings. But
Fluff
guess what?
and fold. Do you want me to come fold it? I can probably handle that. All right.
Let
Can
me
you
tell
iron too?
Yeah.
No, yes, actually, I can, and steam and cook, which is odd. I can do all the things. Whatever you need.
I'm going to tell y'all something funny. It is. Hey, John Hartwell. I'm going to tell you right now. I can just see. I can see a West Indies salad tonight and a good cocktail in your future. I love blue crabs. By the way,
I hate cracking them.
They're fun to catch. And a Ben Franklin crab trap.
Yeah, you crack them.
I've caught a lot of them off the bridge there in Destin, coming in by the East Pass, by the jetty, lowering them down and just putting some chicken from Sanderson Farms in there and those Ben Franklin crab traps. And you pull them up with 5 or 10 blue crabs in there, but they will bite, and don't let them get near your swimsuit
Rob's
area.
entire memory is a Juicy Fruit commercial from 1990.
So do the crabs have physicality, Rob?
What it is. Get your teeth stand up, grab a stick of Juicy Fruit.
The crabs
move ya.
The crabs.
We need Rob Brown and Bill Lambier in a cage match for about 5 minutes.
That'd be a great guest for you, Rob.
That would be a great guest.
Wow, that if I could get Bill Lambier on the show, that'd be fun. All right, let me tell you something now. Number 9, good Lord, that he's got. Well, France has got Texas A&M as his number 9 team in the league at 15-9, 6-5. Just a week ago, they were on top of the world. So let's look at 9 A&M, 10 Georgia, and 11 Missouri.
Where's go to the man coming from?
Franz Beard.
Like he texted it to you?
Yeah,
like
he just texted it to me. Yeah, texted it to me just now.
So get him on the show. He could discuss the entire
thing. Franz, look, Gary Harris, let me tell you something. Gary Harris just texted me about 10 minutes ago. He woke up. He feels like he got hit on the head with an iron skillet. So he's not going to be on the second half. So if Franz wants to jump on here and back this list up, this will be a fun basketball heavy show. But Matt, you like A&M?
SEC basketball breakdown.
Yeah.
My schedule page says A&M 7-4 in the league in 17-7. Did you just say 6-5 and something else? I'm just trying to make sure we got the right records. Right?
Yeah, I got the same you got, Matt. He may be looking at the women's standings.
Yeah, I'm kind of like confused here. Some of these numbers because A&M I thought had 17 wins. They do, but I like A&M as a team. But your thoughts, Matt and John, whoever wants to chime in.
No, I said it earlier. I like A&M as a team. I think they have a chance because of their style to get to the second weekend of the tournament. They're unique. I know, and I agree with John when we're talking about the size factor. You're going to run into a team that's just going to be a really tough matchup. But that goes both ways. If I'm a little taller and bigger than you, and you're you shoot a lot of threes and you get the ball out and you go. I mean, transition defense is everything, guys. And if you're pushing the basketball and beating people down the floor, that is a great neutralizer to size. It's like, we always talk about if we don't like facing a zone team, the way you beat it is we get the rebound, you beat them down the floor so you don't have a chance for them to set up. So there's ways to attack everyone. I think A&M has hit like a little tough spot in their schedule. And like John said, they lost a couple close games. I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
I still think they're a tough out.
Georgia and Missouri. Mike White in his second or third year now, but they got drilled at home last night by the Florida Gators.
Drilled.
And you know what game last year made me realize there were two games that made me think Florida was going to win it all last year. When they went on the road and pounded Auburn, but when they were down by 26
drilled
on the road against Georgia, came back and took a lead for a second, still lost by a point or two.
They're better than last year.
Yeah, that's scary. John Hartwell, you agree on that?
Yeah, I think Georgia gets in. Mike White is a veteran SEC coach. Obviously was at Florida, was at Louisiana Tech before then, played at Ole Miss. And I think he's a good coach. It's just, again, I go back to the Atlanta hotbed. I still don't understand for the life of me how Georgia has not won a national championship. I don't know if they ever have in men's basketball, but I would argue that Atlanta is one of the top 5 recruiting. Yeah. If you just draw a circle around the perimeter of Atlanta, recruiting-wise basketball, and they just can't seem to get over the hump. But I think Georgia makes the tournament, but I think they're probably a first weekend out.
Yeah, and Missouri, Matt, show me.
Yeah, honestly, I told you earlier, that's the team I have not watched play enough, to be honest, to make a fair assessment. But if you're 7-4 in the league, and you're 17-7 overall, your resume says you're an NCAA tournament team. I think that's another depth factor in the league. We got some good teams in this league. I think the question I have for you guys, is that a true statement? LSU's only been in the tournament 7 of the last 26 years for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, one of our LSU guys.
I am just stumped by that. I mean, with that place, that resources, you talked about an area where you can recruit kids. I've recruited Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans before for Rhodes College. And I know how much talent's down there. You're not far from Texas either. That's an amazing stat. I don't know how that happens, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, it is. But you've got, look at a school like Auburn. They make a living out of Atlanta. When I worked in Columbus, Georgia, our coverage area was up there around Fairburn and all those little suburbs of Atlanta. Of course, Atlanta now, 6.5 million people spread out over 22 counties. All right, so let's look at number 12. Wow, he's got LSU at 12 in the league, 13 Ole Miss, and 14 Oklahoma. What can you really say? We already talked about LSU. Ole Miss, Chris Beard, guys, that third year, got him to the Sweet 16, damn near into the Elite 8 last year. I watched that Friday night over at Social Bar and Garden at the Battery in Atlanta. Man, I'm shocked Ole Miss isn't better this year.
It's one of those things that we talk about chemistry all the time. I think Ole Miss has a lot of talent. You just watch them play, and there's something missing in terms of, the right hand knowing what the left hand is doing. And that's been the downfall of many talented teams. I also, I don't know this firsthand, but I fully believe, based on the way their season's going, that there may be a mutual unwind of that relationship between Coach Beard and Ole Miss at the end.
Really?
I think he may look to go somewhere else. And something is askew there with as much talent as they have.
Yeah. That good indicator right there. The canary in the coal mine is just the team just looks like they're flat this year. Matt Dean.
Basketball is interesting because John's made several basketball hires in his career as an athletic director. And the one thing about basketball, in 2 years, you can generally kind of flip the script, especially in the NIL world, especially if you're in the right conference. But I will tell you, you lose the wrong person. I had a saying when I was coaching is, I always wanted someone on the floor that didn't need the ball and can remain happy. I wanted an elite defender that was still a good enough shooter where you had to guard them on the defensive end, but wasn't in your office if he or she didn't get 12 to 15 points and 6 to 10 looks, if that makes sense. I don't know what's going on at Ole Miss. I just think chemistry obviously is huge in any sport. I think it's really big in the sport of basketball. You're only playing with 5 bodies at one time. And from my assessment, every part's got to fit. You got to have a quarterback, which is your point guard. You got to have an elite perimeter defender, and you got to have a rim protector. If you have those 3 things, generally you are competitive. And yeah, it's kind of nice to have a couple shooters as well. But I'm just telling you, if the pieces don't fit, February's miserable when you're not winning games. I've been there. I'm currently living it, and we're 6-15. Not very happy.
No, it's not. And you sit there and you start looking around. John, what you said about Ole Miss and Chris Beard, that's a surprise, because I thought Ole Miss, I still can remember like it was yesterday, his initial press conference when he came on board at Ole Miss, and now you're saying very likely he's out of there. That's hard to believe. Okay, so you've got Oklahoma at 14, Matt. And I'm thinking about Oklahoma basketball. They're struggling this year. I mean, in every way possible. In Mississippi State, there's I can't understand why Chris Jans didn't get anything, and I don't know what they're spending on their roster or whatever. But your thoughts on 14, 15, and 16?
If I'm not mistaken,
South Carolina's the bottom, by the way.
Well, they are. I've watched them play. They are.
And again,
Oklahoma,
this is the Franz list. I was just saying, we got to clarify that we're talking.
This is a Franz list. Yeah.
This is not the Dino list.
This is not the Dino list. Yeah,
that's right. Well, I will say this about Oklahoma. I don't have it in front of me. I've seen them, John, lose a lot of close games. Porter Mosier's a really good coach. Been in the Final Four. But I'm just telling you, when you go to this league and every night and you get on the road, man, and every night is just a battle. You talk about NIL, you talk about roster. You got to have, besides coaching, you got to have an elite evaluator with a vision. You have to be able to. That's why these 2 and 3 star guys, if they're going to stay with me 3 years and I can develop them and they fit my system.
Well, if they fit your system, Matt, we lost you there, but
what happened? Sorry.
The bottom line is, Matt, you were saying if you can keep a guy for 2 or 3 years in development and we lost you, come back.
Yeah, I just think, and I don't know all the facts and all these teams that are struggling, but when you go year to year with a complete roster change, that's difficult from a coaching perspective. You need continuity. I hear Pete Cordelli talk about continuity, Coach Cordelli, on Mondays on your show all the time.
Yep.
It's no different than the basketball roster. That being said, one of the best things that John Brady said in this show is he would have someone out there evaluating other talent in the country from an NIL mid-major perspective to see who we can bring on. If the evaluation is good to the system that you run, you have a better chance for success. Look at Signetti. A lot of people didn't know what he was all about after he said, Google me, but he brought over a bunch of James Madison guys. I promise you those guys were considered 2 and 3 stars. And let me tell you what, they just rolled this year. They rolled everybody this year, even though Miami had a chance in that game. And I honestly believe that that's what we're missing here, guys. We talk about all the money in the roster switches. It's about coaches, no different than Rick Barnes. I mean, he's still got a team that's 7-4 in the league. They lost a lot of talented players, but that system, Rick teaches toughness, physicality, Rob, and also they're going to make sure if you don't play defense, you're not going to get on the floor. And they know that before they go there. They know from a recruiting standpoint, the transparency's there. You're going into this system. And I just think, I've been in this for 35 years, this business, and basketball is the one sport where you can flip the script really quick. You can go from up to down really quick. You can lose one key piece, and you can go from Sweet 16 to not making the tournament.
It is, and John Hartwell had some technical issues. He's going to be out. I know he's just moved in down in Fairhope. Think about South Carolina just a couple of years ago. They were on fire, and then they went to Auburn and got just destroyed by like 40 points. And Lamont Paris, they just have not recovered. South Carolina is just struggling in everything. I thought he was a hell of a coach, very promising coach. But I want to ask you again about Chris Jans at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
That's a shocker. And we talk about Mississippi State. Can't help but mention my good friend Tom Martin, Tom Martin's Body Shop in Memphis. G.E. Patterson and B.B. King open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., 5 p.m. You won't find better people to work on your vehicle. I've been on canoe and fishing trips with Tom Martin. Storm hits Memphis on a Friday night, Saturday morning, and his crew's down there getting everything ready so they can be open for business. Tom Martin's Body Shop, 60-plus years in business, a proud Mississippi State man. But, man, the Hump is a historically fun place to play basketball. Why aren't they getting it done?
I just think their roster's not good enough. I mean, I know I'm a broken record, but you have to have the pieces to beat good teams on the road. And right now at 11-13, I think are they 3-8 in the league, Rob? I mean,
2-9, yeah.
It's not coaching. It's here's where I'm going to defend my profession. Coaching, we all steal each other's stuff. X's and O's. We go to clinics. Florida wins national championship. How do they do it? Well, sometimes, we look at, how they play, but roster construction, in my mind, in the NIL portal era has become the number one thing. How can you get a roster that fits your vision as a coach? And then sometimes how can you make retention? I think that's a really big thing too. If you are at a program that's not an SEC program, and John's been at some of those programs. Yeah. Let's go back to Utah State, for example. When you have a really good program and you got a really good player there, and you find out through a handler that you can take their star and come over here and he's going to make a ton of money, you can't have continuity. So that means you're almost like a junior college, and every year you're turning it over and trying to develop players on the fly a little bit. That's hard. That's really hard. It used to be all about 4 and 5 stars. We could put them away, and we could, SEC football back in the glory days. There's my guy, Franz Beard. But, now with the way that you can see some outliers. I'll give you a great example, Franz. I'm an Iowa Hawkeye fan, but I'm a Drake alumni. Ben McCollum had a tough loss last night to Maryland, but they're 18-6. The whole roster is basically Drake University's basketball team, my alma mater, and they're playing in the Big Ten now with Bennett Sturtz as the point guard, who's one of the best players in the country at that position. So Iowa has flipped the script. McCaffrey's now at Penn, his alma mater, where they used to call him Franz White Magic, I think, back in the day when they made a run to the Final Four in 79. But, you can flip the script real quickly, but you got to have a good plan, and you got to be right on your evaluations.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
You got to have players. Number one, you got to have players. But number two, you got to have players who know how to play together. Mm-hmm. And that's where Todd Golden's genius is. You look at this. He's got two star. He's got a no star in Tommy Hawk, a 2-star in Alex Condon, and then he picks up Ruben Chinyelu, who's wasting away in Pullman, Washington, where you might get eaten by a bear on your way to class. So
yes,
he picks those 3 guys up. He gets Handlongton, and people forget, if Handlongton doesn't get hurt, Florida probably beats Auburn for the SEC championship game in 2024 and probably makes a pretty good run in the NCAA tournament. But, Handlongton fractured his leg in that game. But here's a guy as well who last year, for the good of the team, he burns his red shirt and comes out there and plays. And when you can bring a 7'1" guy off who knows your offense for 3 years, who can block shots, who can run like a deer, and this is the one thing about Florida's 4 big guys, you watch how they run the floor, all of them, you've got something. But you're right, Matt. It's all, if you don't have the chemistry there, if your guys don't like each other, if they don't like playing with each other, if they don't care which one of them does it, as long as it collectively they do it, you're going to fail. And Chris Beard, as you mentioned before, has a team that, quite frankly, it's all for me and all for me and nobody else. Yeah. That's what happens. You watch teams that have this habit of collapsing in the last 5-6 minutes of a ball game. Usually it's because of that, because they don't have team chemistry there. They don't have 5 guys willing to say, I don't care who's going to score the winning points, but we're going to score the winning points.
Well, and something's wrong with Ole Miss, because Chris Beard had them playing their asses off the first 2 years. That first year, especially, without a lot of talent. All right, so Franz we went through your first to worst, although there was a correction made on your A&M. You had them at 6-5. They're 7-4 in the league, but that's a good list, and it's hard. I mean, once you get past the first teams on there, I mean, look, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Alabama, Vanderbilt, that's a pretty strong top 5. But Florida, out of that, the only one that I think has the Final Four roster, Matt Dean. Look, everybody watching, do us a favor. We're going to redo the website. So start going to that www.sidelines.live. You can catch all these shows. Our sponsors, the hyperlinks to them are on there. You can click on them and go straight to that business and support them. And also,
but we're not dropping it yet, Rob. So
not yet.
Let's calm down there, brother.
I'm excited.
Stay focused.
It's website season, but
yes, I know, but no.
But it's going to be cool. But what Brendan's doing too, the reels that he puts out.
There we go.
And I'm going to tell you what. And we have to have, when we have guests, they've got to be on video. We can put the reels out, but the content that comes from here, nobody's going to outwork us. We see what's going on out there. Competition is the spice of life, Matt Dean. You heard what Franz just said.
Yeah.
Talk about this basketball. It's starting to ramp up a little bit. We're less than 8 weeks away from Monday night's national championship game in early April. And I want to bounce around real quick here in the last 10 minutes or so. Nationally, outside of the SEC, and whoever you think is 1, 2, and 3, the best 3 leagues in America.
So before I give you that answer, I want to say I'm always smarter when I'm on this show with Franz, because he said something that ties into a belief system of mine for 35 years of coaching. He's mentioned a couple of the players, the 0 and 2 stars you're talking about, Franz, on the Florida roster, right? What that establishes, in my opinion, and I don't know these young men, but there's a lot of loyalty towards your head coach if you take a chance on someone that other people kind of looked over. We had this one saying one year, prove them wrong, when we were coming off back-to-back championships and lost our All-American, and we had a collected group of 5 young women that just busted their butt every practice and found a way to win a 3rd straight conference title. So I believe loyalty is obviously a two-way street. Franz, earlier, I've also said I think Florida's the one team in the league that can make a Final Four run, maybe win the whole thing again. But I also believe that you got, right now, I think, the best coach in America. I mean, how can you argue with that? I mean, what he's done, this 9 out of 10 run here, the people you lose. And I'm actually excited. My Chicago Bulls, I think, just got Walter Clayton Jr. in a trade, I think, from the Jazz, even though they traded the whole damn team.
The Grizzlies got him. The Grizzlies got Walter.
Is that the Grizz?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I thought it was the Bulls. Rather, he was one of my favorite guys last year. But I'll tell you, if you're going to talk about a Final Four run for anyone, it goes with, I always think you got to have rim protection, which Florida does. You got to have the ability to get out and play fast if you want to. And you got to have the ability to play in the half court, which they can as well. And they got size. So I love their chemistry. And Franz, one of the things I said earlier before you came on is when you look at rosters, I always wanted someone on my team that didn't need the ball to be happy on the floor. I wanted an elite defender. And that could be a rim protector, whatever you have it. If you have that, that's less people that need to have the ball in a play scheme or the playbook to be successful. I think that's really important.
Well, see, this is the thing that Florida's got. Florida's got 5 guys that don't have to have the ball to be happy. I'll give you a good example that's talking about something really overlooked. Xavier Lee, not having a great shooting year, but last night he came up big. Mm-hmm. Hasn't had a turnover in 86 minutes on the floor.
Wow.
Boogie Fland, I promise you, there is no faster guard in America. He reminds me of Phil Ford in the way that when the ball goes on the floor, from where he bounces it to where he finishes it, nobody's faster. Nobody can stay with this guy.
Real quick, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you see when Carl Ravitch and Jimmy Dykes were talking with Lee at that game, and they mentioned the 86 minutes without a turnover? It's just nonchalant, just went right past him. That's a team. And you got a team when, like y'all are saying, they don't have to have the ball and they're not pouting on the sidelines. I see it as a fan watching. A lot of these kids, they've got their stat book out and the team's getting destroyed by 20 points and they're going, I had 17 points and 9 rebounds. No, you know what? You're not, that's not the right way to be.
Remember how Frederick Hughes, Matt, played for Loyola?
I do.
He had a game where he went 1 for 28 from the field. He missed 27 shots. He makes his last one. They come into the locker room to talk, and he says, "Did you guys see the one I hit?"
Well, what did Michael Jordan say one time? Something about you take 1,000 shots to hit that one shot. Y'all ever seen, and you know this, all of y'all do, Brendan knows it, these guys that are like you go to a Grizzlies game and you're, in a close to that court and you watch LeBron James or any of these NBA guys, Kevin Durant at 6'10", 6'11", post up from 3-point range and just drain it. And they've got 40 or 50 points and it's like they scored 10. They're that good. They train so hard. It is so much fun to watch NBA playoffs. But NBA games, to me, they don't even start till the fourth quarter, Matt. I mean, it's just that. And Walter Clayton coming to Memphis, the Grizzlies need something. I just wonder, can he stand being in the same locker room as Ja Morant?
Well, apparently not many people can. I don't know.
Yeah,
You mentioned nationally, and I'm going to pick Franz's brain here for a second.
His beard?
His beard, but his brain as well. I watched Arizona and Kansas the other night, Franz, and I thought it was a wonderful basketball game. And boy, Arizona is very talented, but I thought Kansas is getting better. Another team under the radar that's well coached with Brad Underwood is Illinois. And I know in the Big Ten, a lot of people talk about Michigan, Dusty May, and rightfully so. But I just think Illinois is a team that can make a run. And I've always been, I've had the pleasure of meeting Coach Sampson one time when I was a younger coach, but Houston plays a way I love. I mean, you talk about physicality, Brendan, go look at Houston in basketball. And they always have young players that really play above their head just because he recruits to his system, Franz. He's looking for toughness and he demands it. So, I mean, it's going to be a fun March. It's going to be a fun March, I believe, Franz, because there's a lot of teams.
I've known Kelvin since he was in high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
His dad was the coach at Red Springs in North Carolina, and they're Lumbee Indians. And Kelvin at 5'7" is pretty tall for a Lumbee. And but every December, suddenly, 2 cousins moved in from Western North Carolina. They were always 6'6" and 6'7" to play with Red Springs and Pembroke High School. It's funny, but Kelvin has this idea, and it's a very, very Nick Saban idea. And I've been watching these reels, the really good reels with Nick Saban, when he says, your job is not to worry about what the guy on side of you is doing. Your job is to say, I'm coming to work today with my idea. I'm going to be the best me I can be today.
Yeah.
When you get 5 guys in basketball or 11 guys in football who get the idea that today I'll be the best me I can be, you got something. Kelvin has a history of doing that. Because take a look at how many games he's won, and then ask yourself, how many number 1 draft picks have just burned it up in the NBA who played for Kelvin Sampson? Can you name one?
None.
You're right. A
bit of trivia here. 1988 Georgia backfield. Lars Tate from Indianapolis, a great downhill skier from Norwegian back. That was an awesome running back. The other running back was Tim Worley from Lumberton, North Carolina, where the Lumbee Indians are. That backfield was strong. I tell you what, we just got a few minutes left. This conversation, and I hate that John Hartwell had some tech issues, but he's back down on the coast in L.A., literally in L.A., Fairhope, Alabama. He hadn't looked happier since I've known him, now that he's back in Alabama. And who wouldn't love being down there? But, folks, you can't get a better basketball discussion than what we just have had here in the last hour. And physicality, we're gonna have to study that. It's used so much. But, man, if you are a physical team with a bunch of unselfish players, you can hold that trophy up. And that's something that, friends, I know you're writing another book, but, folks, you need to get a copy of this book and read it, The Golden Season. We're lucky, man. And, friends, thanks for coming in. Thank you. If you can always be ready like this, you're like the fireman. Because Gary Harris woke up and was feeling he got, the plague or whatever. By the way, see this coffee cup here, people love in Nashville. My friend Mary up in Nashville, they go out and there's right across from the Titans Stadium there on the Cumberland River, every Monday night, 6 till about 9, they have doctors, dentists, they have people doing everything to help people that are on the streets in Nashville. They're putting these chapters in a few places in the South, but People Love in Nashville is a great organization. Talk about a bunch of selfless people. Mary and my wife, Audrey, I was up there. I watched them walk around and help people that couldn't do anything in the world for them. That's the mark of a great person. I just want to say that. We got the best guys, friends, John Hartwell, Matt Dean, best executive producer in the world and the best audience. Indian Pass Pirate, I love you. That's down there, not too far from the Big Bend. But look, we'll wrap it up today. Basketball season is cranked underway. We went the whole show and didn't even mention that other sport with the oblong-shaped ball. I love college basketball. Y'all got me so fired up right now. I'm ready for St. Patrick's Day.
Hey, I got one last thing to say to friends. You had mentioned a name. You said Phil Ford. I can remember, friends. I think it was the last when Marquette won it with Al McGuire as the head coach. I think Rick Majerus was the assistant. I think they beat Dean Smith in the championship game. I could be wrong.
They did.
Marquette had Bo Ellis. Those shirts that were untucked. I think a guard name was it Butch Carter, if I'm not mistaken.
Butch Lee. Great game. And that's when Phil Ford used to run the four corners for Dean Smith.
I love it.
Phil had his elbow dislocated against Notre Dame in the regional semifinals, and he couldn't shoot. Yeah. And that's how Marquette won the game. Al, I was with Al in the summer after that, and Al said, well, Phil hadn't hurt. He says, we lose. Phil gets hurt. We win. I get to retire.
And that's why we love college basketball. It's games like this. Look, check out all of our sponsors like Landers Ford, hempforpros.com, Hewlett and Dunn, Blessed Beyond Belief. And look, if you got a roof, get it checked out. Get the folks at mytownroofing.com. Corey Carter, Chris Fiedler, Major Fusel, their crews will work harder than 5 dozen Mennonite farmers. They get on your roof and they'll do it, and they'll do it right. Hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. We're the most blessed people in the greatest country in the history of the world. No negative thoughts allowed. Find positive reasons. Go out and make a difference. For executive producer Brendan Martin, I'm Rob Brown. See you tonight. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing.